Lies are trouble in a bubble. Peter woke up one day in a bad mood. He stumbled upon his toys that were scattered all over the floor and dragged some of them to the bathroom. Peter did not like washing his face in the morning. He did not like brushing his teeth in the evening, and most of all, he did not like going to school. Trying to think of something to get out of school that day, he noticed a red marker between his slippers. And that is when Peter decided to tell his first lie. When he came out of the bathroom, his face was covered in red spots. His mother was hurrying to work. Peter snuck into his room and under his covers. The blinds were still down and the room was dark.
"Mom,"
he said.
"I am not feeling well,"
he added hesitatingly. "Oh, my dear boy," his mother said, who could not see very well in the dark and was easily fooled. "It seems you got the measles. Lay down, my love, and rest. I will come home earlier from work today to take care of you."
My first lie,
Peter thought.
I am very good at this. It seems that lying is super easy.
Then he was home alone. The sun was shining outside, so he figured it would be a shame to spend the rest of the day in bed. He got up, got dressed, and left the house. But he did not notice that right above his head, among his wild, uncombed hair, had appeared for quite some time a small bubble, so small as the size of a pea. Walking into the elevator, he met Mr. Henry, an elder man from the 4th floor.
"Good morning, Mr. Henry."
"Oh, good morning, Peter. What happened to your face?"
"Nothing. I have the measles."
And the small bubble now grew bigger, like the size of an apricot. Inside the bubble, there were some red spots floating around.
"And why aren't you at bed?"
"I need to buy some oranges to get better."
Second lie, and the bubble grew even more, this time the size of an orange.
"Where are you going so early?"
Peter asked. Mr. Henry was going to the bank to check his savings account, but he decided to tell a small lie instead.
"I am going to the park to feed the ducks."
And in an instant, the bubble over Peter's head grew and took the shape of a small pond with ducks swimming in it and all the floating red spots and oranges. But he now started feeling something above his head, and so he looked in the elevator mirror. He saw the bubble showing behind his wild hair.
"Wait, what is this?"
He tried to move the thing away, but it would wave around and then come back to its place. He tangled his hair a little bit more, and this way he hid the bubble temporarily. Turning around the corner, he bumped into Mrs. Laura, his music teacher.
"Peter, Why aren't you at school?
I am sick. Why aren't you at school?
The truth was that she had gone out shopping. But instead of telling the truth, she decided to tell a lie.
My dog has fleas and I took him to the vet.
Instantly, in the bubble, there were fleas sunbathing by the pond with the ducks. In reality, only Peter could see the bubble. But he did not know that, so he tried to hide it by putting on his hoodie. Till noon, the bubble had gotten so big that it now looked like a cloud following him everywhere. In a magical way, that morning that Peter decided to tell his first lie, this bubble was created that had the ability to draw like a magnet all the lies. Therefore, it was now filled with every lie, small or big, Peter had overheard that day. The mechanic had told his client that his car had a serious damage when the truth was that it only had a flat tire. A woman had told her friend that a very famous tennis player had once proposed to her. Peter overheard two friends talking about fishing and hunting. The first one said that he once caught a rare species of swordfish that was 5 meters long, and the second one said that he once had caught a bear that was 3 meters tall. So now Peter carried over his head all these lies, which felt heavy, and they may not have been his own, but this is how lies are. They are a burden to anyone who knows about them. In his bubble now, there was a swordfish, ducks and fleas swimming, and a bear was chasing a tennis player who was trying to get away with a broken car. Walking around with his head heavy as lead, he was now wishing that he had not said that lie in the morning, and even more, he was wishing that he never ever heard another lie in his entire life. He entered hastily the local bakery, and he saw Miss Amelia, the owner, standing on top of the counter, and scattered all over the floor there were loaves of bread, croissants, and bagels.
Are you okay, Miss Amelia? You look like you saw an elephant.
And the baker, who all this time was fighting a tiny little mouse, decided to tell a huge lie.
Yes, that is what I saw. I saw an elephant. He threatened me with his trunk and sucked in like a vacuum 6 kilos of bread and 2 kilos of fresh baked cookies.
Are you certain?
Peter asked.
I am absolutely certain. You can check for yourself. If you open the door, you will see him turning around the corner on the left.
Peter opened the door. He looked on the left. Nothing. He looked on the right. Again nothing. And he then realized that Miss Amelia had most probably lied. He looked upwards, towards his bubble, dreading for what he would see, and there it was, an elephant chewing on some loaves of bread, stumbling on some oranges, was heading now straight to the lake with the ducks, while the tennis player was swimming to save himself from the swordfish, and the bear was sitting on top of the broken car, scratching its back with a racket because meanwhile it had caught fleas.
Lies are a big trouble,
Peter was now thinking. Even though Peter was the only one who could see the bubble, he was not aware of that. And so he was now worried of what would happen if his friends saw him, or how he could ever play again with them. He would not be able to run fast or play hide and seek. He would be the first to spot. He would not be able to play football or do somersaults anymore.
"Why are you so troubled, Peter?"
the town mayor asked.
I just left Miss Amelia's bakery. There was an elephant that made a huge mess in there.
"But this is absurd! An elephant!"
Weren't you informed that there is a loose elephant in our town, Mr. Mayor?
And the mayor, who had been lying his entire life, did not think twice to add one more lie in his resume, maybe the most amusing of all.
"Of course I am informed, Peter. There is a circus visiting our town. Most probably the elephant got away from there."
Circus?
Peter stuttered.
"Yes, oh yes, a circus! With lions, giraffes, clowns, magicians, seals, acrobats, crocodiles, tigers.
I got it!
Peter shouted to make him stop. There is no way that a whole circus would fit in his bubble, but it did. Peter ran to his house. "Peter, where were you?" his mother asked.
But, Mom, you know...
I don't want to hear anything. Go wash your hands and go straight to your bed. I lied to my boss that my bicycle was stolen so that I could leave early.
Oh no, Mom, not you too.
Peter thought, disappointed. He washed his hands and laid down. What a headache from all the noise up there. He stayed awake all night. Inside the bubble, the tennis player was playing tennis with the bear, using oranges as tennis balls. The clowns had locked themselves inside the broken car to escape the tigers and the lions. A trained seal was balancing on her nose 4 loaves of bread. The acrobats were balancing on a tight rope over the lake with the swordfish and the crocodiles. A magician with measles was taking ducks out of his hat, while an elephant was riding a bicycle with the giraffe. The next morning, Peter got up from his bed early and ran straight to the bathroom to wash his face. He brushed his teeth and started tidying up his room. There was enough mess on top of his head. He did not need more mess under his nose. But how he would go to school like that? Trying to think of something to get out of this nightmare, he noticed a small Pinocchio puppet between his slippers.
Lies are trouble, isn't that right, my friend?
Peter said while picking the puppet up.
You know this better than me.
He then hid the puppet under his jacket and left the house. As soon as he got out of the building, the enormous bubble spread all over the place, almost covering the whole neighborhood. Peter took out of his jacket the wooden puppet, grabbed it by its pointy nose, and closed his eyes. In a sudden move, he poked the giant bubble. Puff! Echoed through the whole town. And in an instant, everything and everyone poured out. The oranges fell one by one on top of Peter's head, along with the red spots that returned to his face. Then the little ducks took the elevator up to the 4th floor. They were very, very hungry and drove Mr. Henry crazy with their quacking. The fleas left the bear and moved back to Mrs. Laura's dog. The broken car landed on top of the car with a flat tire, causing serious damage. The woman that had told her friend about the proposal of the famous tennis player found herself in the uncomfortable situation of having constantly a sweaty, persistent tennis player following her around and asking her to marry him. Along with the waters that poured out of the bubble, the 5-meter swordfish got out and reached the feet of the lyre fisherman, who was petrified. Even more scared was the lyre hunter, who came face to face with a 3-meter bear. The whole circus, animators and animals, went to the mayor's house and camped in the middle of his fancy garden. Peter's mom went to pick up her bicycle to go to work, but the bicycle was nowhere to be seen. At the same time, a hungry elephant riding a bicycle stormed in Miss Amelia's bakery, leaving her speechless. Peter looked all the mess that the lies had caused.
Oof, lies are trouble in a bubble,
he thought. He was finally relieved from all the lies, and so he straightened his hair, put on his smile, and headed to school. And that was the day that Peter decided to always tell the truth.